Hey, what's up, guys? Little man with a big opinion here. So, this is some more prepping stuff that I got for this week, and I spent $0 on it. Um, my grandmother gave me this stuff, but grandmother went out, picked up some things. Because when we cooked dinner the other night, we used rice from my preps because we had run out of what we use on a weekly, monthly basis. And we kind of let that slip. um, the first thing she got, which really isn't going into the long-term food prep stuff, but she got me more of the peanut butter protein powder that I have been using. uh, this is a really good additive for something like this, which is just quick oats. This package that she picked up is right at 1,600 calories. So if that's all you had, that's gonna be one day's worth of food. My cat's knocking stuff down. So I really hope this will just fit in this quart-sized jar, and I don't need to use anything else. We're going to be cutting it close. Perfect. Never really thought about it this way, but you get roughly one day's worth of oats out of a inside of a quart-sized jar. I think my Sharpie is finally deciding to die, but it is 2/17/26. I think I might have to get another Sharpie. I don't know how well this orange one is going to pop up on the lid, but we'll see. I can see that well enough. So that's one more jar full. And I mentioned the peanut butter powder because plain oats, in my opinion, taste awful. I eat oats every single morning for breakfast. Unless I know about another breakfast. But you put 2 tablespoons of this inside of your, cup and a half, 2 cups of oatmeal, and this adds a ton of flavor. I would also say you've got sugar. If you freeze dry fruits, then you can add them to jars, and when you add the hot water, it kind of reconstitutes them. And that makes this a more balanced meal. Most people associate this as a breakfast option, but it can be eaten breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, whatever. And so you pick up some freeze-dried fruit, you store some sugar, you use your peanut butter powder, you put a little bit of honey or syrup in there, and I probably have 40 or 50 jars just like this full of oats. I've got some that are half-gallon jars. I've put oats in the pint-sized jars. Um, Adding that variety makes it to where this basic staple food is something that you can eat for weeks and months at a time because you've got that variety. This is some short-term stuff. I drank this milk when I was in the army because it's not required to be refrigerated. This specific one goes bad in July, so we'll drink it at some point before it goes bad. And when things are still going well, we are going to refrigerate it. Chilled milk just tastes better. But I'm more excited about getting another container of powdered milk. This is, you combine water, you shake it, you mix it up, and you cure it, or not cure it, you chill it. Oh, I think this cat wants in this room. And of course, as soon as I open the door, she runs away and wants to bang around and make noise. She's running to get up on the couch in the back, and it's gonna be loud. You wanna be in the video? Yeah. I think she wants to talk to her boyfriend. This bag makes roughly 16 servings. When I pour this stuff inside of jars, at least on one of the jars, I will, cut out their, guide. Add 1 cup of water to a 1/3 cup of the powder to make 8 fluid ounces of milk. And then, make a quart, make a half gallon. The whole bag, you use 15 cups, and you'll make a full gallon of milk. What I liked the most out of this brand is when you're looking at the ingredients. U.S. extra grade instant non-fat dry milk. That's all this is. Someone purchased milk from a cow, freeze-dried it, stored the powder inside this bag, and I honestly might keep it in its original bag because this brand, this feels very, very similar to a Mylar bag, and it is resealable. I might put it in mason jars. I've never seen this brand before, so I'm gonna look up some stuff. Mountain Made. But it feels like a very thicker type bag. It might just be a thicker plastic, and if that's the case, it'll go inside mason jars. And the coolest thing that she got, I've got some of this in my closet already, but I got a container of heirloom seeds. This is from survivalseedsforpatriots.com. Never heard of them before. But there are 21 varieties, 5,600 different types of seeds. They're sealed in Mylar bags. Long-term storage. Nothing has been modified in any way. And heirloom seeds are the kind of seeds that you get to last darn near forever. And even the container that they're in is a metal container that, has a nice seal on it. And this is one of those things that's just going to sit on a shelf. And I've got different kinds of beans, peppers, cucumbers, carrots, beets, peas, corns, tomatoes, broccolis, spinach, onions, cauliflower, zucchini. I think the one that I'm most excited about is some good old watermelon. And then varying numbers of these seeds. Like watermelon, there's only 60. But you get 900 Romanian lettuce seeds, 320 radishes, 85 pinto beans. Actually, zucchini only has 50. 70 bell pepper, 260 beets, 100 peas. This is one of those kind of things that you buy once, you set up on a shelf, and if you need to crack into it, you crack into it. This is like your starter guide of here's all the different kind of things to eat. The big thing that I'll say on something like this, we're growing tomatoes, some bell pepper. We're growing 5 or 6 of the things on this list this year. And that's where, you shouldn't just buy this and the world falls apart and you're going to grow everything and life's going to be all kumbaya. You start the garden now. You plant 2 or 3 different kinds of things. You spend a bunch of time and energy and you get enough food for like a week from your garden and you're like, dang. That kind of tells you how much you really need to grow to make stuff last a substantial amount of time. Or provide the food for a substantial amount of time. You figure out the stuff, the little tricks and the things to make stuff grow more efficiently and, get bigger yields. And, this is where you start small and you expand later based on the needs that you have later on. At our house, we probably have most of the space that we need to grow enough to, cover. But, we're not covering every square inch of ground in, food. We live in town. Where my dog's backyard, we're not going to take away the entire thing to just cover it in a yard or cover it in a garden. But I'm excited because I get to add more stuff to the shelves. It might not seem like a huge deal, but one day's worth of food. In reality, there's 5 of us, so 1 breakfast, 1 lunch, 1 dinner, whatever. That is 1 more meal that short to medium term we don't have to worry about. We can wait for things to go back to normal. I think more and more about, some sort of global conflict. And if there are shortages, this is supplementing stuff that we can still get from the store and stuff that we're producing so that we can meet our caloric needs. And if it's super long term, this makes the safety net just a little bit wider for us to, produce all the stuff that we need. So, oats, it's a great thing to put away. The instant, freeze-dried milk, great stuff to put away. Seeds are a great thing to put away, although you should be growing and practicing right now. You don't want your crops to fail when you really need them to produce food to feed your family. And, you pick up a case of quart-sized jars, pint-sized jars, half pints, half gallon, uh, and you kind of let them sit there. You can fill these with water until it's time to, uh, put some sort of food in it. And when you got the couple of bucks lying around, you get some rice, you get some beans, you put your stuff aside, and, you know, you watch the shelves fill up. So if you can do a little bit more, you do a little bit more, you work with what you got, and you figure it out. But that being said, I'm going to finish packing the stuff up. If I need to put the milk in a jar, I'll put it in a jar. And until next time, subscribe to the channel if you enjoy this stuff. Like the video, dislike it. Get the conversation going in the comments. And until then, catch you in the next one.